Welcome to the Pocatello Business Podcast, the only Pocatello podcast focused on providing profits for Pocatello people. If you love our town and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Pocatello Business Podcast with your friend, host, all-around great guy, and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Pocatello Business Podcast. With my first guest of the year, you're probably hearing just me solo, done hearing with me solo for 2021. Doug Chambers, CEO of ISU Credit Union. Doug, let me get to his bio. This guy's an impressive guy. He's accomplished a lot in his young age. Number one, he's born and raised in Pocatello, so obviously he's got that going for him.
Yes.
He graduated from Utah State University with his bachelor's. Then he went into Idaho State University to get his MBA. And then you've had quite a run in just the credit union world. You've had some experience in Pocatello. You've had some experience in Washington, and now back into Pocatello, correct?
Yeah, that's true. It's funny because for me, I didn't really ever consider credit unions. It wasn't that I was unaware of credit unions. It was just didn't seem like at the time I was working at AMI. So this is On Semiconductor before it was On. And funnily enough, my mom saw a posting for a position at a credit union here locally, and on a whim, I kind of, interviewed for it and got it and had an amazing experience there. I was at Idaho Central and just got to see the way a credit union operates, best practices. Was there to watch a mid-sized credit union really grow fast and really take care of their members. And then had an opportunity up in the Portland, Oregon area, just on the border there of Portland and Washington. Spent a few years there learning more about credit unions, kind of the operational side, kind of the back end as far as the financials, investments, what happens on a balance sheet, what happens on the income statement. And then got the opportunity to come here back to my hometown, which was good news for everybody involved as far as my family and my wife's family is concerned. They were pretty excited about that. No more 12-hour drives to Portland. Yeah. We were excited to come back here, and I've loved it. I mean, being at ISU Credit Union has been like having my dream job. I'm happy. I love what I do. I feel like I work with amazing people. It's like all the things that you want when looking for fulfillment and satisfaction and a challenge and an opportunity to do something, cool and fresh that impacts our community, that has a actual impact. So I guess I've been in credit unions for about 15 years now, maybe.
Wow.
And yeah, I love what credit unions are about. So I hope I stay.
I love it. I like it. Well, what can you share something fun or interesting fact about yourself as we get this started?
Man, asking someone to brag about something that's interesting about themselves is kind of a tough.
It is. People naturally don't want to brag about themselves.
Tough way to answer that. Yeah.
But it's also the mindset.
Yeah. I don't know, something, I guess, as far as things that are interesting about me, I'm pretty non-traditional when it comes to business. I do get involved in what I think, the cooperative nature of what credit unions are. I like to be involved locally. I like to make a difference in people's lives that we can see that difference rather than, donating my money to some large charitable organization. And I just never see any kind of results from that. But I guess the interesting thing about me is that I love to travel. I've been all over. I ride a motorcycle. I every year take a 10-day trip by myself just to kind of recalibrate and rebalance kind of who I am and who I want to be at work, who I want to be at home, that kind of thing.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, that's fun. It's good to have those hobbies to keep you balanced. So
yes, sir.
We've already talked about how you got into the business, but what's your favorite part about the business you're in?
Um, really, my favorite part is I alluded to it earlier. The people that bank with ISU Credit Union are here locally in Southeast Idaho. Idaho Falls, Blackfoot, Pocatello, Burley, and beyond. But it's people that we see face to face on a daily basis, and it's people who we live in a time of real uncertainty, and whether it's uncertainty from a global shutdown, a pandemic, or even if you look at 12 years ago and there's a complete economic meltdown, um, people are very private about their financial situation. If someone's feeling like, gosh, something's bugging me in my leg and it just won't go away, and it's making it so I can't do the things that I want to be able to do, and I'm worried about the future, they would go to a doctor, tell the doctor everything about it, and do treatment or have surgery or get some kind of medication. Like, they would go get it fixed. But a lot of people will struggle for years with their finances. Same thing. It doesn't seem right. I'm worried about my ability to do things I want to do. I'm worried about my future because of it. I don't know what's to come. And it's really rare for someone to be vulnerable enough to talk to someone who can help when it comes to financial health. And so seeing people's lives improve because of the the people I work with, my coworkers, our team, being committed to that, being passionate about that, wanting that to be the core of our business, it helps me sleep at night. I mean, I know that there are people whose lives are better because they come into contact with the people that I work with.
That's awesome. And that reminds me of an article I read in the Idaho State Journal about you, talking about a gentleman coming in and sitting down with you. You can if you feel free to tell the story. I think that's a cool story just to go along with what you were just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of the it was the exact person I just described, kind of. And there's a lot of people like that where they can't get a hold on their finances. Feels like they're spending more than they make. Feels like they're living paycheck to paycheck. Feels like there's not enough at the end of the month or the end of the week, or how whatever metric we use there. And this guy let me, really do a forensic, like get into his life, and we put together a budget. I've done this a number of times. If people get real excited about it and then they stick to that budget, suddenly some of that money starts to free up and they can start putting it towards retirement. They can start putting it towards their kids' education. So in this area, people want to start saving for, sending a kid on a mission or sending a kid to travel or, get worldly experience. It's a really cool thing to watch people feel like their money is not in charge of them, but they are in charge of their money. And that happens all the time. That story that I told for Shelby from the Iowa State Journal, when he and I were talking about it, I was just the one that was on my mind, and that's what a great credit union can do, is to tap into that cooperative spirit that credit unions were built on, which is, hey, we exist in this community. Let's help each other out. Let's be there for one another. And yeah, that guy's life changed. I mean, I still once in a while get a call from that gentleman, and
that's awesome.
And he and I are pals. But his life's awesome. I mean, he's doing what he wants to do, and he didn't have to make a ton of changes. Still works the same job, still makes the same amount of money, but his life changed. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And that's a funny thing too, is that you just hit it on the head. People will go to the doctor with all sorts of embarrassing ailments. The doctor will bend them and tweak them in all sorts of places, but it is hard for people to open up about financial situations. And
I mean, people will tell you, like, if you're sitting on an airplane or if you're at a community function, people will tell you about some weird malady that they have on their body. Like, you just met them and they'll tell you about some kind of operation that they had recently and and you're just like, this is too private of information for you to give me, a stranger. Why are you giving me this information? But people will not say, here's how much I make, here's how much I owe. I'm not worried. I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to do it. I'm worried about it. And we have to change that mindset as a culture, to change that entire mindset of, your money is super secret and super private. And if people find out about where they'll think less of you because, we really do have this prosperity,
Keeping up the
sort of
Joneses.
culture. Yeah. Keep up with the Joneses. It's that prosperity culture where it's like how well I am doing financially reflects who I am as a person and how successful I am in life. And that's just not true at all. I mean, it's the content of your character, not to get all into Martin Luther King here, but like it's the content of your character. And we've got to get back to saying, now you don't have to be the richest person on the block for people to respect and love and admire you.
I like it. I like it a lot. And that's the thing too. I think financial institutions as a whole, I feel like, they get a bad rap because I think people are like, well, they're not going to loan me. They're not going to do this for me. But for you to actually say that credit unions are there to like dive in and really help individuals, like that's huge that people can understand it.
Yeah. And that's a true thing. I mean, there are circumstances that have pushed people to a situation where they just don't have the income to cover a loan, or they don't have the, maybe their credit score's kind of been taking a beating because of some things that they can't control. And maybe, maybe they lost their job. So there's a lot of times where a person won't qualify for a loan that saves the day or whatever, but shoot, who cares? We can start somewhere and start building them towards being ready to do that loan. So a no is just not right now, because it's let's figure out how we can turn this you don't qualify into absolutely you qualify. Let's get this going. And the beauty of not being at a big bank or something like that is the people who are looking at those loans and underwriting them, their office is 30 feet from me. They're right over there.
That's awesome. I love hearing that kind of stuff. That's just good stuff. So people just need to know, like, you're not a bad person if you get into some financial woes. We've all been there at one time or another. Like these credit unions, go to ISU Credit Union. They're there to help you. They're there to figure things out with you. Let them help you. Let them be your doctor financially. So
yeah, it's judgment-free zone. We want to fix. We want to cure. We want to like get to the root of the problem. We don't want to just say, oh, you broke your leg. Well, you shouldn't have been doing jumps on your skis. I mean, that's not what we're about when it comes to like approving loans. It's like, oh, we get it. Life happens and stuff can suck. Let's get you into a better, healthy position.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, well, we talked about some of the favorite parts of the business and how you got into the business. What's the biggest mistake you've made in business?
Oh man, that's a list that is a hard one to sort of round down or narrow down. I think interpersonal mistakes have been the ones that stick with me the most. I think I have a personality that for a long time wanted to be maybe the center of attention, or maybe really funny, class clown type of thing. And by doing that, I missed out on some opportunities to build real relationships with people, to build trust where people feel like they can trust me, that it's always not going to be like some witty comment back to them or making a joke of something, and not that constant search for being fun. I remember I had one coworker, she called me on the carpet. Speaking of medical things, she had been out because she had some kind of injury. And when she came back, I was in a meeting with her, and she just point blank told me, it really made me lose some respect for you and some trust in you, that you not once checked in on me. You never asked me how it went. You never showed. So all this stuff you talk about, like caring for each other and being there for one another, you're not living it. And that was a big mistake. I mean, as far as mistakes go, that really rocked me, because I was like, oh, am I a phony? Am I unworthy? Do I just, I don't practice what I preach type of thing? Sure. That was a big mistake. I've also made just like, that was a bad decision, bad mistakes that have cost, people more work, have cost me more work, have cost credit union money. I mean, the list of mistakes goes on and on.
Sure. No one's perfect. That's the thing that I think this podcast is all about, is that we're still here to make money, but you're going to make mistakes. But those who don't learn from the mistakes are, they have a fool for a teacher because they're learning from themselves. So
right.
I like that.
And I think it's important to build a culture where mistakes are don't augment themselves by trying to fix them without anybody knowing, by trying to hide them. I think that if building a culture of like, oh, I have made a mistake, full disclosure, we need to fix it. I need some help. We need to figure this out. There's like a whole team of people that will help. And if we trust each other enough to make those mistakes and then help each other, rectify those mistakes, that goes a long way.
Congratulations on spending a couple minutes getting just a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Pocatello business community. If you are feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.